right? So RJ got a little bit of that. The problem is Melo was so nimble. It was the combination of strength and just little small adjustments to the basket that, because there's a lot of strong dudes in the NBA and they're not Melo. There's an extra, like my boy used to call it get busy. Like, there's an extra get busy to Melo's game. And RJ needs to find that. They defenses have counted him and he's unbalanced. The team doesn't look better than last year's team. And that shocks me. That's another place that I was wrong. Look, I've said crazy things like I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks have a better record than the Nets. And to my defense, as ridiculous as that sounds, to my defense, this was my thinking. The Nets have a lot of volatility. There's always volatility and change. The Knicks had solid vets. They could play big. They could play high percentage basketball. It's just too much of the same thing. And the other thing that I'm surprised about the Knicks, and now we're going to talk about Fizdale. I'm surprised that the Knicks have not developed that youth. Now, it's not over for any of these kids. These kids are young. Knox, Barrett, Robinson. They're super young. So you have time to let those guys marinate and come through and become who they're going to become. But they've got to show progress. And I just don't see it. Like, D'Angelo Russell is an example. He was injured. He showed a little bit. He showed flashes. But because his game is like syrup, like, he's got a flow to his game. And he's got, like, it's hard to see D'Angelo Russell's get busy. But it's there. And his shot-making ability is off the charts. And like proof of the insolence, the abject, ignorant arrogance of Steve Mills, that D'Angelo Russell had hit the open market and he said, we're not giving max contracts to players who aren't at the top level. How arrogant, how ignorant is his arrogance? I can't even say it. How ignorant is his arrogance? Do you know how different of a team if you had a healthy D'Angelo Russell on it? How much he could have helped all of these bigs actually get the ball? The Knicks are run by morons. And, some of my Knicks fan friends, I'm not talking about one in particular, several of them, multiple of them, have said, the Knicks, that's showing, look at Dolan. He's hiring an all-black front office. That doesn't help the black cause to hire a front office of incompetence. These guys are basically fucked up because of the circumstances that they put in. I could never even know if Steve. No, sorry, Steve. I'm forget about it. Perry is the one I absolve. I think maybe he could be a good GM, right? But he's relegated because there's a basketball president. It's not like the Nets where Sean Marks is the Don Dada of all Dons, and don't nobody tell him anything. Sean Marks was getting ready to trade Jeremy Lin. He had the courtesy to tell Joe Tsai, the owner of the team, he said, listen, I'm trading Jeremy Lin. He's in his 30s. He was never that athletic to begin with. We've got to use all of our assets to make the team better. I got to make that happen. Joe Tsai said, but Jeremy is so good for the... Shut the fuck up. Sean Marks is the Don of the Nets. Jeremy Lin was gone the next day. He's like, Joe, I got to tell you, and I'm not going to even try to do his New Zealand accent. But Sean Marks said, Joe, I got to tell you, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to fix this thing. And as a good leader does, he lets his stakeholders do their job. That's the problem, Knicks fans. There's no one who knows how to structurally build an organization and circumvent the idiocy of James Dolan. He just cast a shadow over the entire team that it just sucks all the joy out. Like I've made a commitment to watch all 82 games of the Knicks. And I'm not a fan of the team, and it feels so hurtful, and the pain of watching this team operate in this way. The product on the floor is garbage. And they really made Knicks fans believe that somehow they've outsmarted the market and they're going to have cap space again. You idiots. That means you didn't go forward or back. And it shows on the court. You're supposed to use that cap space to find ways to grow, not put a temporary Band-Aid on this shit show. Steve Mills has been with the team since 2004. He has no vision. He's not saying, you know what, we're going to have the best facilities. We're going to build the best scouting team. We're going to send them all around the planet. We're going to scour the earth for talent. We're going to make the best decisions in the draft that go with our system. And we're going to build around a core of these players. They can't say any of those things because they didn't plan for it. They don't have the organizational structure to do it. They have no culture. They have no identity. And that all comes from the top. Stop giving this man your money, Knicks fans. Because in the circles that he moves in and the people that could actually check him, they say, hey Jim, the team, I'm hearing bad things about the team. My son says you're shit. What's going on? And Jim says to his random friend with the criticism, look at the books. How am I doing something wrong? Look at the numbers. And of course, the Knicks rake in the dough. And it's because every single summer you fall for it. They hired Steve Mills and y'all were cool. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled. He fired Phil Jackson and you guys breathed a sigh of relief like, ah. That Phil is gone. But the Knicks didn't change. They put Steve Mills back in, who was here before Isaiah Thomas. He has been in charge across the worst streak of basketball losing the Knicks have ever faced. He was involved in the bad part of Melo. He is here because he is a yes man. I hate to insult the brother. I hate to put our business in the street and accuse a black brother, because there's so few jobs where the black man is in charge of a basketball organization. I said that with a lot of passion, right? I'm not that passionate. But I do view it that way. There are a lot of the best executive in the NBA right now is Masai Ujiri. And he has the ring to show it. His team is still performing. He's going to make Toronto a destination. Masai Ujiri is worth $1 billion to the Raptors. That is not hyperbole. That is the truth. They're not a free agent target. He didn't inherit a team that was bad enough to tank. He never tanked. He went to the ECF with those Toronto teams. Do you remember what the Toronto Raptors were before? That man has an organizational vision. That's what black men need as examples out there, not Steve Mills. Steve Mills might be a competent executive. He's well educated. He's smart. He's mild-mannered. I wish he would win. Just to erase the concept that still lingers in white executives' minds, that the black executive isn't smart enough to do this job. And I hate to downgrade him. But the truth be told is he should never be in this position. I'm sure there's a lot of young executives. And forget about the color of the executive. Because if I'm the Knicks and I could go back in time, I hire Sean Marks. If you're about cold-blooded, ruthless results, I have no problem with the people the Nets hired. And the Knicks haven't done that. So while I know Fizdale is about to face the axe, he's going to fall on the sword for this. If they do not completely excise the cancer, and unfortunately Perry is attached to it, he can't survive either. And the shame of it all is the reason why you don't want to do it as a Knicks fan. It means that you have to start over again. See, nobody who's talking about these issues is talking real to Knicks fans. I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm not Alan Hahn. Alan Hahn is a Knicks fan. He doesn't live in reality, and I'm sorry. I'm a fan of his show. I enjoy. I think when him and Hahn and Humpty was great show. ESPN shows lack of foresight and understanding of guys who just culturally, if you just left that